Well, hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I'm your host, Kevin Reeds, and this is the review of the new thriller that I was slick style intrigued. I was excited to see this film. It is No Way Up, and it found the way to combine my two biggest fears and put it in one movie, one scenario. And I I was sitting there like when I saw the trailer about a month ago, I was like, man, why nobody ever thought of this? This should have been been took place, this type of film, but it haven't happened until now. No Way Up tells the story of a plane crash in the Pacific Ocean, and the passengers must escape before the plane eventually falls into a bottomless gorge, while also dealing with a group of sharks that are circling the plane wreck. You talking about worst case scenario? This is this is the worst case scenario you could ever put on screen. My When I say my two biggest fears, I have a fear of flying, even though I flew for the first time last year on a plane, and I still have a little fear there. And part of that fear is crashing into the ocean, and and they found a way to combine that and put a little hot sauce on that by adding the elements of sharks attacking this plane or the survivors of this plane. And bruh, it's, honestly, I was like, man, this is an amazing scenario. An amazing scenario. This film stars Sophie McIntosh, Will Attenborough, uh, Colin Meaney, Phyllis Logan. This was a very small contained film. We on this plane and we're introduced to a few characters who's going to play a major part throughout the film. We get enough backstory in the beginning to know exactly what they're all about, who they are, and how significant they're going to be to the plot. You pretty much knew going, you knew when they were boarding the plane who was going to live and who was going to die. And now there was one surprise, but for the most part, you knew who was going to live and who was going to die at the opening of this film. Now, how long they lasted, that kind of took, that was kind of a shock because there were a couple of characters I was expecting to see to the end, but it didn't happen. You know, they went out pretty quick, but it is what it is. This comes from the same producers that gave us the 47 meter down films. Pretty much the same scenario, I guess you could say, just without the element of a plane. But they are infatuated. The producers of these films infatuated with shark attacks. I don't know what it is, but they're good movies. I actually enjoyed 37, not 37. Is it 47? Yeah, 47 meters down. I actually enjoyed it, and the sequel was pretty decent as well. I mean, they were what they were. They're not Jaws by no stretch of the imagination, but they're good shark attack films, and I take them for what they are. And this film is not going to win any awards. It's not going to blow the lid off of the box office, but it is good. I think this is a really good film. As far as the actors are concerned, I know nobody other than Colin Meaney, who I've seen for years in films. But other than that, no, I haven't seen nobody else. I mean, Will Attenborough is uh the only reason I know him is because his grandfather is Richard Attenborough. Uh, you know, from he's a predominant director, and he was in Jurassic Park. He was Hammond, and so yes, this is his great grandson or grandson. I don't know, but the lineage, but they are related. But that's the only reason. That's the only, I guess, quote unquote, big name in this film. Everybody else is kind of under the radar, which is fine. It and the lead here, so Sophie McIntosh, I really enjoyed her. I thought she did a really good job with this role, um, especially leading this film in particular. She was a character that you can get behind and cheer for and hope that she makes it. And so that was her job, and she did her job well there. The one thing that I was impressed with as far as the screenplay is concerned is the fact that this was not, you didn't have the character in this movie that was a special ops, former Green Beret, Navy SEAL, SEAL Team 6 member who knows how to get out of every scenario, who went through this scenario before in training so he could lead us to the surface. We didn't have that character in this film, which was great. We didn't have that. We had normal people stuck in this situation and trying to figure out a way to get out of it, and it was real. It felt realistic. It felt like this is a situation that can probably happen in real life, even though, you got to suspend disbelief in some shape, form, or fashion, like the plane holding as much air as it did for as long as it did in the film, laying at the bottom of this ocean. So that kind of gave me a little pause, head scratching there. But hey, it's the movie, so you just went with it. The ending was a little too cookie cutter for me. It wasn't the look. I wasn't looking for realism, but I was looking for something that maybe I can believe. Maybe I can believe, but it just didn't. It just didn't work. The ending didn't work. It didn't ruin the movie. Like a bad ending can ruin a movie, but this didn't ruin the movie for me. It was just, it was like whatever, at the end. But it is what it is. I can't say that this was an enjoyable watch. It's not nothing that I would say seek out to go watch, to go find and watch it. But if you come across it, I would say stop and watch it. It's a good watch. No Way Up gets a letter grade of a C. I thought it was good. It's a guilty pleasure, if you will. But I would like to know: have you checked out No Way Up? Have you even heard of the film? I randomly saw the trailer last month, I believe, and I was intrigued. I was like, man, I've never thought of this scenario. This is horrible. Not horrible like the movies are, like the scenario. I'm like, man, this is horrible. You're in a plane crash and you're stuck at the bottom of the ocean with sharks surrounding you, coming into the plane and eating you and all this other stuff. I mean, that is the most frightening scenario you could ever think of, in my humble opinion. So I was looking for this film. It was on my radar, but I know a lot of people probably never heard of this movie. But that's why I'm doing this review. I just want to bring it to people's attention. But if you have heard of it or you have seen it, how did you like it? And if you didn't see it and haven't heard of it, are you planning on checking it out? I would love to know. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the KB Radio Network on all social media platforms, as well as YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Also, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this little review of a little known film called No Way Up. I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.